I'm Chris from MyMMAnews.com, being joined by Zach Kelly, days ahead of his highly anticipated bout with Brandon the Mechanic Coutinho, a matchup that's been a long time in the making. It's finally going down September 30th in Newark, Delaware at Gut Check Championship Series. As you can see on my man's shirt right there, Zach Kelly, it's a long time coming, man. First and foremost, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. A lot better now, man. Like I said, we grew up around the same circuit, so it's awesome to see you making such great strides in your professional career, coming back and this highly anticipated bout. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it, man. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to get into it. It's been quite the journey getting back into competition, so we're finally on the cusp of it. How's it feel to finally get back, man?
It feels great. I mean, this year has been like a long roller coaster of close calls to this fight happening, and now we're 1 week away. So, I'm just getting very excited.
Now, for the people that don't know the behind the scenes of getting this fight to come to fruition, can you talk about how it was supposed to happen? It didn't happen. It was supposed to happen. Can you talk about those things that happened that made us finally here today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got back to training last year, probably a little bit around this time, like August of last year is when I got back training, and then around January, Greg Pritchett, I was up at his gym getting some cross training, some sparring, and he asked if I was looking to compete again, and I said, yeah, I think I will. And then he offered me Brandon Catino. I said, yeah, let's do it. I honestly forgot all about Brandon. No disrespect. I've just been so out of the loop the last few years. I've kind of been MIA. And yeah, I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know you're still doing the damn thing. All right, cool. Yeah, let's throw down. And then the fight got scheduled for February. And then about, I think it was 2 days before the fight, it fell through. Uh, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you could ask Brandon. It was something to do with I think his paperwork or something like that. And the athletic commissions are very strict. So the fight got postponed and rescheduled for May. So it wasn't too bad. Took maybe a week off from training, just kind of relaxed, and then got back into camp. And then I think it was 3 weeks before the fight. It was my last sparring session, and coincidentally, it was the last round of my last sparring session. I was throwing down probably a little too hard with my brother, and we collided, like my shin to his knee, and I felt like a pretty good stinger in my leg. And I was like, let's just call it around. And the next day it felt even more sore. And then the next day, even more sore. And I was like, okay, usually, you take bumps and bruises in sparring. And I thought that I'd be able to just ice and relax a couple days. But it turned out, I was like, let me go get this checked out. And when got it checked out, and I ended up having a small chip fracture in my leg. Um, it was a bummer, man. It was a big bummer. So I had to withdraw from the fight. But the orthopedic assured me, they said 8 to 10 weeks, I'll be 100%. They said it's a real common injury. They said that he's worked with a few soccer players that had it, and then within 2 months they were back on the field playing soccer. So, I mean, he knew I was a kickboxer, so I just took recovery very serious. It was hard because I had all that training and momentum going, and then for 2 months, pretty much the only thing I did was push-ups and sit-ups. So I took some time off, but yeah, I went to the orthopedic every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks did an X-ray, and they kept saying it's getting better and better every 2 weeks. And yeah, and then after I think it was either 8 or 10 weeks, 100% full recovery, and the fight got rescheduled, and yeah, now we're fighting in September. So yeah, man, I'm stoked.
A long time coming, like I said. Now, with all of that kind of just behind the scenes stuff and everything adding to making this fight happen, does it make it that much sweeter that fight night's finally on the horizon? All the BS is behind us. We're finally about to get to do the damn thing.
Oh, for sure, man. I feel like someone's just dangling something in front of me, and I've been chasing it this whole year, and
Yeah.
it's finally there. I'm excited, man. Put a lot of
And
work in. So excited.
I was gonna say you put a lot of work in, and you stayed busy, like you said as well, in the gym, helping your brother, WKA national champ, helping the guys in your gym as well, other people as well that you've been cornering. So my question was, can you talk about the fine line of difficulty that it was coaching all these people to success, but in your heart of hearts, wanting that to be nothing more to be back in the ring, nothing more to be back in competition?
Man, it's part of the journey. I mean, I was a coach. I mean, I'm not a full-time coach. I help out when I can. Um, I have a very chaotic work schedule, so I'm not able to coach anymore. So I just do it here and there. I train guys a couple days a week. I have a private gym that I coach at, and then once in a blue moon, I'll run classes at Gracie 717 if Christian Carr is not available. But Christian Carr is the head kickboxing coach at Gracie. I passed the torch to him, and he's killing it. So I'm in there training with those guys all the time. But as far as running the classes and stuff, I just help out here and there when I'm needed. But as far as cornering and coaching, I mean, that's a piece of cake. I've been on shows where, when they used to do the MMA shows in Lancaster, I would corner maybe 6 guys and then fight at the end of the night. So it's no thing, man. I'm used to it, and I enjoy it. It kind of makes making that walk on fight night a little bit easier since I get to do it so many times throughout the year.
I get you. Now, given this bout has been on both of you guys' radars for some time, I'm sure this camp isn't the first time, obviously, that you guys have both thought about fighting each other. Now, uh, do you feel like that you might need to put a stamp on this performance just in case the people forgot? Again, it's been a long time since you've been competing, or is it easing back into the prize fighting after a long layoff? Can you tell me how your mentality's taken it?
I'm just trying to make a statement, not for anyone other than myself. I feel like it's been a long time since I got to showcase my true skill set. I think I've had 6 professional fights between MMA and kickboxing, and I've been plagued with injuries for probably about 5 of them. And everyone goes into fights with maybe a bump or bruise, but I'm telling you, a couple of my fights I probably should not have fought. I was fighting for the wrong reasons, and I feel like there's just been a lot of maturity the last couple of years that I've been off, as well as just I feel rejuvenated, and I'm ready to show the world what I'm about. But more importantly, just to prove something to myself.
Do you think the years that you finally gotten to maybe understand yourself a little bit better, getting a little bit more wiser, do you think that's going to help you have a lengthier career post after this fight?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, getting into the fight itself, I asked Brandon the same question. And I'll unveil his answer, but do you see it being more competitive or do you see a clear path to victory?
I think it's going to be. I'm just ready for the trenches. I'm ready for the trenches. I'm ready for a hard fight. I know I have a good understanding of what Brandon brings to the table, and I did not take him lightly. I know that he's a tough opponent. I've seen him fight a handful of times in the amateurs. We both came up kind of on the same scene, just in different weight classes throughout the amateur career. And then in when we were both turned pro, he was more focused on kickboxing. At the time, I was more doing MMA. But now I've kind of switched gears and I'm just solely focused on kickboxing. But yeah, man, I'm ready for the trenches. I train for a difficult fight every time, and if you're ready for the worst, then when the opportunity is there for it to be a little bit easier, I think it'll be much more enjoyable.
Brandon says he sees a clear path to victory. He didn't really emphasize on it, but again, he says he has a clear path to victory. And you actually just answered a question that I was going to save for later, but you said you're just primarily focused on kickboxing now. No more MMA. You're done with it.
Yeah, I'm just focused on kickboxing, man.
Gotcha. Pending a win in this bout, do you know what you want next? Do you have a potential name? Do you know when you want to maybe get back in there? Is there anything that you're thinking about, or is it just this fight right now?
I mean, I would like to be active. Right now I feel healthy. I have no injuries. I have no excuses. So as long as I don't get injured in the fight, I would love to have another fight before the end of the year. I don't have anyone in mind. I honestly don't even know what the landscape looks like. I've pretty much been only focused on Brandon. I respect his skill set and his team enough that I'm not going to look past anybody.
Does this break maybe give you kind of a newfound look to fight? And the only reason I'm asking this, I wasn't even planning this, but when you said you kind of lost sight of the scenery, you don't know who's on the scene anymore. It's like you have brand new eyes in the sport, whereas you've been in the sport for so long, but yet you have a brand new glimpse of it. Is that how you're seeing this? Is it like a brand new aspect, a new look at fighting for you?
To a certain degree, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that really I'm just focused on myself. We just went to like you said, the WK Nationals for my brother. We had no idea who's going to be there, man. We just showed up and we fought. And that's kind of how I'm approaching this. Just like the old amateur days, when I was fighting at Gut Check as an amateur, social media wasn't as big. There wasn't as much known about your opponents. So, I mean, a lot of times I didn't know even what my opponent looked like or if they were orthodox or southpaw until I showed up that day. You know, the old, like I said, the old gut check cards or the USKA cards back in the day. Man, I didn't know who I was fighting until I got there. So it doesn't really matter to me, man. I'm looking to go out there, mix it up, have fun, and do this until it's not fun.
Do you think some of the new fighters could learn a thing from the old type of fighters? Again, a lot of people, because of, like you said, social media, they're just eyeing up their next opponent. They're so focused on what's in front of them. They don't have that fighter's mentality of, look, man, I'll focus on me. I train the best I can, and I don't care who I'm fighting. I'm going to show up day of fight, and I'm going to fight. You don't see that anymore, man. You're one of the last of the last in this one.
I mean, we'll see. Everybody's their own unique individual athlete. Everybody's going to take things in their own way. I mean, my if we're talking like MMA, my favorite MMA fighter of all time was Donald Cerrone. I mean, when I was an amateur, I had 36 amateur fights within 6 years. You know, and that's because I never said no. You know, and I mean, I fought everybody from 155 pounds up to 180 pounds in kickboxing and MMA, but especially in kickboxing on 1 day, 2 day notice all the time, you know. And then I caught a lot of flack when I went pro and I tried to be a little bit smarter with taking smarter matchups. But at the end of the day, man, I feel like I did everything the right way. And I'm just ready for next week so people can see what I've been brewing.
Well, definitely looking forward to next week. Your official comeback is set in stone, my man. So, as you know, I got to ask. I feel like I know the answer to this one, but do you have a bold prediction? Zach's back.
Pain.
I love it. All right, brother. That's going to do it for us. As always, we're just a couple days away for the ring return of Zach Kelly. He's taking on Brandon Coutinho at Gut Check Championship Series. Goes down September 30th in Newark, Delaware. If you can't get to the live event, make sure you tune into the live stream, the pay-per-view at FCL TV, Fight Club Live TV. That again is FCLTV.com for the live pay-per-view of Kelly versus Coutinho. For Zach Kelly, I'm Adam Crist. Make sure you keep it locked to mymmanews.com for all your fight news needs.